Here's what some people are saying about the Projection Booth podcast.
The Projection Booth is single-handedly the greatest film podcast you could ever listen to or could possibly want.
Top notch. 5 stars. This has quickly become one of my favorite film-related podcasts. Always interesting.
A completely unpretentious yet fully comprehensive look at films from all genres.
The Projection Booth podcast, with new episodes available every week at projectionboothpodcast.com.
You guys look like... What do they look like, Jimmy?
Dorks. They look like a couple of dorks.
Get those birds!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What? Are you kidding? We got some family here.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
You are listening to the In the Mouth of Dorkness podcast. Here are Brad, Lisa, Brian, and Darren.
Welcome to another edition of the ITMOD podcast. With me is Brian Young.
God, I love being a turtle!
The Turtle Dork.
Well, if my answers frighten you, Vincent, then you should cease asking scary questions.
And also joining us is Lisa Gullickson.
Quick, suck it before the venom reaches my heart.
Wife Dork.
It's a car wash, ladies and gentlemen.
And Brad Gullickson.
And for gosh sake, watch your language.
That's not going away anytime soon.
And Mouth Dork.
You know, my son, I wouldn't be Emperor of the Galaxy if I didn't have some powers at my disposal. Imperial Battleship, halt the flow of time!
And I'm your host, Darren Smith.
Warm. Warmer. Disco.
The Disco Dork. Ah, but a man's reach should exceed his grasp. Or, what's a heaven for? And welcome to the ITMOD podcast. Yay, this is our weekend dork. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, Brian. Welcome back, Lisa. Welcome back, Brad. Welcome back, Disco.
Feels so good.
I think it's been 3 weeks since we were all in the dork cave.
Yeah.
Too long, guys.
I think.
We've been scattered to the 4 winds.
Probably.
I took the east wind.
Well, I'm just glad to be touching you.
Brian, touch my body.
Oh!
Touch my body.
Oh, it's like the end of Guardians Volume 1.
Yay.
Oh, yeah.
CFast 8, this is family. All right, Brian, how was your weekend dork? You say you don't have a weekend dork, but you've been posting a lot of shit on YouTube. You've been watching a lot of trailers. Half of them I probably haven't seen.
Probably.
So, of these trailers, what are you most excited about?
Well, this past week, there was a few that dropped. So, of course, everybody knows I've kind of been pretty active on the YouTube channel. Really just trying to kind of up the activity on there. So, putting up the episodes of the podcast we have on there and reactions, reviews. I do have some reviews I need to put up. But this past week, actually, I'm going to look through. We had a couple trailers that dropped. From the last time I was here, the Star Wars trailer dropped, which I did right here in the Dork Cave. Thanks to Mr. Mouth Dork there. Thank you for letting me use the Dork Cave to react to that trailer.
It was so hard not to jump in.
I wanted you to, man.
Did you want me to jump in?
I told you we could do it together.
Oh, we should have done it together. Except I'd already seen it like 700 times before you walked in. Which is
fine, because it would have been a first for me, and you could have kind of chimed in. But we'll work on that.
Okay.
But it was cool, though.
I want to join you.
We need to. We'll do more reactions. I'll hold off, especially if trailers drop over the weekend. We can. I'll bring my stuff. We can.
Does that mean I have to hold off?
Oh, can you do that? That's the great thing about it, because doing being on the YouTube channel has disciplined me a lot, especially when it comes to trailers. Lisa, I know you're not a trailer person.
I am not a trailer person.
So it should be fine.
I was so crazy excited to show The Last Jedi to Lisa, and she could not give 2 shits.
I'd much rather just watch the movie and experience the movie. Like, once I'm excited. I'm going to see it. Stop selling it to me.
And I was like, Thor Ragnarok, Lisa, OMG!
I loved that trailer. I thought that trailer was wonderful, but I'm already seeing the movie, so don't show me anymore.
But you know what? You did not find that trailer particularly interesting at home when we watched it on the TV.
I liked it on the big screen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, like I said, the reason I do this is really just for the subscribers and the fans out there who get a kick out of, me reacting or not reacting to something. But this week, we had 3, I think, or a couple. There was one for American Assassin, which is okay, I guess. Michael Keaton, he's great. Cloak-and-Dagger. They released a trailer of their series. Marvel is coming out with a series on Freeform, which was formerly ABC Family.
Freeform, what?
It was formerly ABC Family. So they've done some restructuring, and they've changed the name of their network. And
could we get a Cloak-and-Dagger Bunheads crossover?
Bunhead?
Bunheads? You don't know about Bunheads?
No, man, I don't. Sorry.
That's going to be when Brian and I do our spotlight, it's going to be all Bunheads.
Oh.
Bunhead spotlight.
Oh, is that something I'll be into?
No.
No? Okay. It'd be hard to do a spotlight on that. But the Cloak and
It's got ballerinas.
Ballerina? Yeah, I like Black Swan.
It's exactly like that. I haven't seen Black Swan.
Oh, okay. Oh, homework. So keep that in mind.
Looks vomity. I don't trust ballerinas.
Yeah. I can't remember if it was or not.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to your Bunheads trailer reaction.
Yeah, but just three quick ones I'm gonna talk about that I did this past week. Cloak-and-Dagger, that kind of caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting because that's not going to drop until 2018.
Bam.
But it's on Freeform, and the trailer looked kind of interesting. I don't know too much about Cloak-and-Dagger. I know, Brad, you're kind of like the comic book connoisseur here, so maybe you know a little bit about Cloak-and-Dagger.
They're teens.
No?
They
They're
were in
teens.
some kind of accident together.
Yeah.
Roxanne Corporation, the evil Oscorp wannabes from the Spider-Man comics. They gave him some magic powers.
They were high school sweethearts.
Yeah, I know it's definitely has that YA feel to it.
In the comics and in the TV, they were in the
and
because
then
in the comic book she didn't look like a teenager.
Well,
I feel bad now.
I mean, it depends on what version of Cloak-and-Dagger. If you're if you're reading the Ultimate Universe one, they're definitely teens, and I'm sure they were teens when they started as Cloak-and-Dagger, but now they're pretty. They're at least in their 20s with that outfit.
That's the picture I googled. The cover. Then I googled the 20-year-old woman.
The cloak is like you can like transport. It's a transporting cloak.
Yeah,
I can't remember what dagger is. Maybe it's
her
just
abilities. No, her abilities are to keep her boobs in that very skimpy outfit.
See, I hope that was the 20-year-old one. I'm sorry.
I'm not sure.
What are you doing with your comic books, man?
No, when I saw the trailer, I googled like.
Oh, so you saw it?
Dagger? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
And then romance ensued.
Yeah.
So that looks interesting, and I mean, again, I love what Marvel is doing in their television universe as far as like just expanding a lot of their different properties. Even though some of their Netflix series kind of, they kind of taper down towards the end of the series. And because of a lot of the word of mouth and negative reviews from Iron Fist, I still have not started Iron Fist yet.
You don't need to. You're good.
I just like my desire for that has just gone away. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to get to it, but everything that's been coming out has just like really just it's taken the wind out of my sails of just trying to watch that movie.
Don't.
That series.
I watched an episode. You're good.
Damn. Okay.
Dude, if you end up watching Iron Fist before Game of Thrones, I will kill you personally. Then use my medical knowledge to bring you back to life.
That's 60 episodes of Game of Thrones compared to 13 for Iron Fist. But I digress. Yes. The next one I did was some movie called The Little Hours, which is I have no idea what this is. It doesn't look great. It's a comedy with Aubrey Plaza.
Oh, I want to see that.
Yeah, and Alison Brie and Dave Franco.
Is this the religious one where?
Yeah, she's the nuns.
Yeah,
with the nuns. Yeah. Did you see? Or you heard about it, Lisa?
Wasn't there some controversy?
I saw a picture of it.
Yeah, I mean it's a raunchy comedy. It's basically just them perpetrating as nuns and just doing raunchy shit.
There's a Red Band trailer.
It's like a rated R Sister Act.
You could say something like that.
All right.
I mean,
I love Aubrey Plaza.
I love
she's great.
Sister Act.
Yeah,
all right.
she's
Well,
great.
between the two of you, this movie is
right up our alley.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen The Trouble with Angels? It's like from like the 70s or the 60s. It's a great movie. That's going to be somebody's homework.
Ooh.
Probably Brad.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, guys.
But then the last one, and then I'll kind of jet out of here, is The Beguiled.
Oh,
did I say it right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
How else would you say it?
I kind of made a little joke.
Beguiled.
I said the beguiled.
Oh, fun.
Beguiled or beguiled.
Illiteracy is hilarious.
But this movie looks very, very interesting.
Directed by Sofia Coppola.
Directed by Sofia Coppola, who
a remake of 1971's Don Siegel Clint Eastwood classic,
The Devil.
Oh,
no,
okay.
Beguiled.
Yeah, the same. Yeah, it's got a great cast. I think Nicole Kidman, Elle Fanning, and Kirsten Dunst, who's worked with Sofia Coppola before, and Colin Farrell. And it takes place during the Civil War time, and he gets injured, and Nicole Kidman is like the head mistress. I think that's the correct title of this boarding school. And they
is that what that is? A boarding school?
Yeah,
it's a boarding school, and they bring him in to tend to him. But they're a little skeptical because I guess they don't associate with males.
It's also the South and North.
Yeah.
It's the Civil War.
They're from the South and he's from the North.
Right. Ah, okay. And then he ends up getting romantically involved with one of them. And then,
at least one.
Yeah, and then gets romantically involved with another one. And then some crazy shit ensues. Now,
Sawbones.
Is that what happens? I don't know. It definitely has some shades of I was thinking Tusk, possibly.
What?
No.
And man, I'm just thinking
the Red Band trailer because that.
I was thinking Hard Candy. I was thinking a lot of these movies like that. Just from hearing that last line from Colin Farrell, where he's like, you vengeful bitches, what have you done to me? So, and again, I think maybe the trailer may have gave too much away.
Hard Candy is such an underappreciated film.
It's really good. I really like Hard Candy.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
glad you brought that up. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, it definitely looks intriguing, and from the trailer, and if you guys go and check out my reaction, it's definitely a movie I'm definitely looking forward to possibly checking out.
Are you a fan of Sofia Coppola? Any of her other
I haven't
work?
really checked out a lot of her filmography. I know of her Virgin Suicides, I believe, was her first film. I did see that because she did that with Kirsten Dunst. I know she did did she do the Bling Ring?
Bling Ring. Uh-huh.
I missed the Bling Ring. Didn't see that. But what else did she do besides
Marie Antoinette?
Marie Antoinette. Yeah, I missed that one too. Yeah, I definitely missed that one. But yeah, so that's pretty much my weekend dork. I've kind of been preoccupied with some other stuff. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to really kind of bring you anything new. But I did watch my homework, but that is for a different episode. Yeah. So we will talk about that a little bit later. But just to kind of finish up with the YouTube page, tomorrow, I'm not sure when this drops. This probably drops tomorrow on Monday.
Oh, the Kingsman.
So today, Kingsman.
Ooh, are we going to do? Oh, wait, damn.
No, Kingsman is one of my most anticipated movies of the year.
Are you going to do a reaction to the teaser to the trailer?
No, I don't do that shit, man.
Are you going to do a teaser to your reaction?
No.
You should do an anticipatory reaction. I think my face is going to look like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly.
Stay tuned, we'll see. Yeah.
I think my face is going to look like this.
I should do that as a thumbnail.
Yeah.
Do a thumbnail that way. But I'm excited for Kingsman. So I'm waiting to really see this trailer and to give you guys something, hopefully something that's going to be reaction worthy. So yeah, that's pretty much my weekend dork.
All right.
The Begooled.
Yes. Wife dork. How was your weekend dork? That's a rhetorical question because I know it was great.
It was so great. I've seen so many movies. But I accidentally set down my letterbox. I want to give you a little taste of all the films on my letterbox if you guys aren't following me, which you should be. So I saw Patterson. Mm-hmm. I saw Buster's Malheart in anticipation of the interview you guys did with Sarah Adina Smith, which is amazing, a great interview, and the movie is really good too. I really found it really interesting.
I'm pulling up Letterboxd now, but what did you think of Patterson? Because I haven't seen it.
I liked it. I gave it 3 stars.
Okay.
It's very meditative. It's a slow ass movie.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Okay.
So yeah, and I mean the poetry was okay.
Suck it, William Carlos Williams.
Sorry. Buster's Malheart, I said that. Oh, we saw Free Fire, which I believe is going to be in somebody else's Weekend Dork. I saw The Lost City of Zed, which was vomity for those of my fellow emetophobes. Yeah.
Oh, that black shit?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I closed my eyes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really vomit. It was black shit.
No, it was because there was somebody before that. There was somebody on the edge of the boat who was also vomiting a very vomity color. The jungle is not a good place for me. people are getting, diphtheria and malaria and Ebola.
I don't like jungles either.
That's because the jungle's not a good place for anybody.
There's too many spiders in the jungle.
Were there any spiders in this jungle?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's spider-free.
Snake, though.
Yeah, snake's fine.
Robert Pattinson.
He's a snake? A spider?
Nope.
No, but he's adorable. He's got a big fuck-off beard.
Nice.
And like a blister on his face. He's come a long way from being sparkly. I think that's the secret mystery of Twilight. That actually there are good people in that film. Series. And then I saw Brian's homework because it was the homework that I gave him. And I'm super excited to talk about it. A crazy, nutty musical, Hedwig the Angry Inch.
Yep.
I bumped it. I bumped my mic, people.
There you go.
What is this? My first day on the job? Jesus Christ. But today I want to talk about a film that I missed it last weekend, and that is Colossal. I finally got to see it, you guys.
Yeah.
After you guys lording it over me, how much I'm going to fucking love this movie, and I wanted to hate it just to spite you guys.
You want to spite hate it, Lisa?
Of course, I'm very vengeful. But I loved it. What
Yes.
can I say?
Yes.
So I want to do a little spoilery mini review.
Yep.
Because if you guys didn't see it this week, it's not like these guys haven't been singing its praises all this time. So if you didn't see it, that is your own fault because I want to talk about it.
Skip ahead about 20 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, please.
Yes. So, like I said, I love this movie. I loved Anne Hathaway as Gloria. I love to see her pathetic, alcoholic party girl side. She was so believable and she, like when she was in the apartment with her boyfriend Tim, played by Dan Stevens.
Oh yeah,
so pretty.
Yes, Dan Stevens is so pretty. She just seemed so, I don't know. She just seemed so
sad.
Pathetic
Ruined.
and just
Wasted.
drained as a human being.
Yeah.
Loser.
Yeah. And I like how they made her hair frizzy to make her seem relatable so that we don't see the 11 that she is, a complete star. But she had bangs and frizzy hair. And then I was like, oh, she's just like me.
I think, putting her next to Dan Stevens goes a long way of making her look unattractive.
Whoa.
He's a beautiful man.
But I should give a public service announcement at this point. He does not take his shirt off, girls. Sorry.
Nor did he sing. Now that we've all seen him in Beauty and the Beast, we know his talent. Exclusively musicals from now on. Thank you, Mr. Stevens. So in the beginning of the story, she's fired from her writing gig. Apparently she's like some kind of blogger, and she said something offensive, and the internet turned on her, chewed her up, and spat her out.
I sure know how that is.
And because of that, she is forced to go back. She kind of goes into an alcoholic party girl haze, and she's lying to her boyfriend about it and just being a general despicable person. And so he decides to dump her and kick her out until she can pull her shit together. So she goes back to her small hometown. Her parents have left the house empty, so she goes and moves in.
That reaction she gives when he reveals to her that he has packed up her clothes and left them in her luggage on the bed, and she should not be here when he comes back. And, she lets out that, what? And then all her, socialite friends come pouring in after Dan Stevens leaves, and they all start setting up shop, plugging in their phones into the wall sockets and breaking out the vodka. And she is paralyzed that she has effectively ruined this relationship. She did not have any inkling that this was the end.
Right.
And that was traumatic for her.
Yeah, she thought she could continue to push those buttons. And I would have loved to see after her friends had realized what had happened. Because that after that, they're not going to be like, oh, we're so sorry. Let's just get out of here. I'm sure that they had like some kind of alcoholic rampage.
And she probably partook in it too.
Oh, absolutely she did. One last hurrah.
Lisa, I want to talk about the very beginning, the opening of the film, that doesn't take place in the States. It takes place in Korea.
That's right.
I want to get your opinion on what that was, because it starts in a whole
25 years ago.
Somewhere else 25 years ago, and that opening does not feature Anne Hathaway's character. So you being the very analytical and note-taking person, like, what were your thoughts on that opening, and then to have that shift to the situation with her and her boyfriend that you just spoke of?
Well, the opening was a little girl playing with a doll and having a good time. And then on the horizon, we see the monster appear. And the girl drops the doll and screams. Oh, man, I haven't really thought about that since the theater.
Because it shifts from that to the scene with Anne Hathaway coming home that you just...
That's right.
The problem is, Darren, is Lisa knew about the monster subplot already. She'd seen the trailer. She'd seen all that stuff. So I don't think that opening scene really had any effect on her.
But I mean, in retrospect, like, the fact that this girl was playing with a plastic toy, and we know ultimately that the monster was a plastic toy. I don't know. Maybe there's something there, the power of imagination, or the kind of a butterfly effect kind of situation. Because we know that 25 years ago, was that when the lightning struck?
Well, at that point, when the little girl sees the monster, that's the first time the monster materializes. That's the moment when
she got struck with lightning.
Struck by lightning, yeah.
In the little field thingy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know if there's any kind of deeper poetic meaning.
What are you trying to goad her to say, Darren?
No, I'm not sure. I just wanted to know where you just like, okay, what the hell was that? Or
no, because I did know this was a monster movie. That's one of the things. I'm a little disappointed that I did see the trailer. Mm-hmm. Not that there wasn't surprises in the film from the trailer, but I would have loved to discover this symbiotic relationship between Gloria and the monster unfold, rather than just rather than anticipating it through the whole film. And maybe that's why I ultimately resent trailers.
Yeah,
because I think that they should be crafted in a way that's just more mysterious.
So she loses her job and her boyfriend, and ends up going back to her hometown.
Right, which is an extremely together, so humbling experience, because she was supposed to be the one who got out. Right, big girl in New York, with a name and a career.
This is so good, Gilmore of her.
And so she goes back and she runs into her old friend Oscar, who is played by Jason Sudeikis. And at the beginning of the film, I loved their relationship. I knew that there were red flags. I was just like, yeah. The fact that he's been following her career without reaching out at all and kind of knowing the details of her life is kind of a red flag. And then also the furniture thing, the unsolicited gifts thing, was a little bit over the top. But there was something about them together in that beginning of the film where I was just like, this couple is so cute. I want to marry Jason Sudeikis. I am Gloria. This is the best. And the fact that he seemed so compassionate to her and her plight, and he didn't seem to judge her for what had happened to her, or judge her for being an alcoholic. And it kind of reminded me of the relationship in Get Out. When you see the beginning of Get Out and you have, what are their names? Chris and Rose, I think?
Yeah.
And Chris and Rose, and they're so cute in the beginning of the film. And there's, little awkwardnesses, but you're just like, oh, but they're so adorable that it'll work out. And then you find out, how evil those characters really are. And Jason Sudeikis' character also has this twist where he has an extremely dark side that rears its ugly head as soon as he thinks that he's losing control of Gloria. So I loved that aspect of the story. My notes keep on flipping. I feel like I am not doing a good job of podcasting right now.
So she gets, he offers her a job at the bar once he finds out She tells him that she's coming back.
Yeah, so she ends up working at the bar, and she's kind of just starting to make a new life for herself. And she makes friends with the people at the bar. But she's still reaching out to Tim and trying to reestablish that relationship. And in kind of a pathetic fashion. But she does start getting distracted and just kind of starting her new life. And then we have the monster plot come in. So whenever she crosses over this certain piece of old playground, whenever she steps onto the old playground, a monster appears in Korea and walks her walk and gestures her gestures, which I think is such a creative and crazy idea. I just thought that was just really fun.
What I love at that moment is you know, because you've seen the trailer and you know it's about how the creature reacts based on her emotions and her movement. You're like, okay, we finally got into the movie. This is the movie. But you don't realize what you're watching until Jason Sudeikis steps onto the playground.
That's right. The Jason Sudeikis' robot character was a complete surprise to me. And then of course, this is at a point where I'm still completely on board with their relationship. So I'm like, oh, this is something cute that they can share. How sweet. But then that power reveals who they really are. And this, you know, Anne Hathaway's character, Gloria, seems like this selfish person who doesn't think about her friend's feelings and doesn't think about her boyfriend's feelings and just is living for herself. But then when there are actual measurable high-stakes consequences to her actions, she changes on a dime. And she says, this has got to stop. I've got to apologize, which is a scene that I loved, and I've got to change. And then when Jason Sudeikis' character, when Oscar finds out this power, he immediately wants to exploit it. And
well, he's also been, in his eyes, totally wronged by her because she sleeps with Joel. Right?
That's right, but I mean, it's also an attention thing.
Well, from her point of view, but like, you know, from his point of view, that's what unleashes the beast. That's where you really, if from that, there's no backing down from his toxic nice guyness.
I mean, there's two elements to that, because he definitely does a little bit of revenge attention, but it is a matter of, it seems like he's been living this selfless life. You know, he inherited the bar from his dad. He's led this quiet existence. But as soon as he finds out that he has this power, and he uses Korea as his playground, and, you know, he's like, oh, you know, I made sure that I wasn't stepping on any folks, but, you know, he was mocking buildings.
But that all comes from the place of being wronged a second time, because you learn from his past that he was in a really strong committed relationship, or at least what he thought was, and he probably effed that all up, and now here it is happening again. He sees, when she comes back into his life, he sees an opportunity there to engage and be like relationship superior once more.
Right.
And that's shattered because ultimately she doesn't have that same connection with him or desire of him.
Right. I mean, that's true, but
she digs on the fact that he's a puppy dog.
I feel like I feel like his issue was of jealousy. I mean, he made that comment to her about, you know, you're just mad because it's not all about you now.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I feel like he was jealous of that. I feel like he was jealous of her success of being able to leave that town. And he stayed and didn't become much. I feel like he was jealous of the other guy, her messing with the other guy instead of him. So I felt like his anger and his that character, it stemmed from, you know, just jealousy.
And also he couldn't control her anymore, because when she was working at the bar, he could control how much alcohol she drank. He was his boss. He provided her furniture.
He's misreading her love languages. He's just like giving presents. Dude, not interested.
Yeah. I mean that's true, but I don't think that was completely like the fact that he decided to express his rage in the way that he did.
It's a symptom of his rotten core,
right?
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. It's a he becomes a real monster, and he uses Korea and he uses their magical situation as a way to entrap her and as a way to control her. And
he passes her on the street, recognizes her, and it's an opportunity for him to find some kind of power again.
Right.
Like from the start. And you really get that on the second watch.
Well, he loved fixing her. And when he saw that he could not fix her anymore, then he started blackmailing her essentially.
And at that point, when he says, look, you're not leaving, you're sticking around the bar, or I will kill thousands of Koreans, it becomes a really horrendous horror story.
Yeah.
And I love that switch.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. And then when Tim comes back, and we find out that Tim is not that great of a person either. I mean, he's not nearly the monster that Oscar is, but she clearly has this need for a caretaker in her relationship. Like she had not been maintaining control of her own life. She was always putting herself in a situation where she owed somebody. She owed Tim to live in his apartment. She owed Oscar for her job, and she had lost all independence. So I found this movie to be an extremely powerful statement about getting out of possessive relationships and being your own person, and the contrast of how men use their influence versus how women use their influence, where like with Oscar, when he found out that he had this power, he chose to lord it, where when she discovered she had this power, she chose to back away from it. Not that I'm saying she should have, but I just found that to be like a very masculine versus feminine, not to speak in broad strokes, but traditionally masculine versus feminine reaction. And I just really love that. And then Brad tells me that Nacho Villagando, his inspiration for creating this story was that it's ultimately like a farce about internet trolls. Can you explain that to me again?
Have Darren do it, because Nacho told Darren specifically at Fantastic Fest while they were sharing a plate of burritos.
The idea, obviously we're in the age of, the keyboard soldiers. You can say whatever you want in 140 characters with your keyboard, and it can have far-reaching and damaging effects to someone so far away, and you not see how much it hurts because you're so far removed from it. So the idea of Anne Hathaway's character being here in the States and her actions damaging and possibly killing people on the other side of the world is, being metaphoric for, me saying something harmful to somebody who's writing and pouring out their heart on the internet or something, and then they receiving that and it affecting them in such a way that it could potentially affect their lives, cyberbullying and things like that.
Like when you tell that to me, like that makes so much sense. The idea that you're just kind of stomping through life without considering who you're affecting, like
not looking down.
Exactly. Like that makes so much sense to me. But like for me, that's so much less of a powerful statement than what I, as just a viewer, going through and watching the film and inferring what I thought the
I think
movie
what
was
you
about.
saw there is there also.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a strong choice for him to have a female protagonist in this role versus, having, a movie about, a filmmaker and a male filmmaker and have the same story. I think the fact that it's a woman, the fact that it's a woman who's been depending on men in a lot of ways, and then having her become so empowered creates a really powerful statement. And even if the message that I got was not the message that he intended, I think that it's still like a powerful thing that, you know, that everybody realize that no matter who you are, what you do makes an impact, and you should respect that impact, and you should use it to improve the world, you know, and not let other people control your power and control what influence you have.
So when the film becomes a kaiju battle, you know, across the pond as well as on the home front, it's like the most obvious and surprising thing all at once.
Yeah.
It's so beautifully crafted. Of course the movie goes that way, and how ridiculous that I did not see it coming from the beginning, from the concept.
Because there's no internal logic. Like, to me, like, you know, the fact that she would go like, well, you know, if I show up in Korea as a monster, then clearly if I go to Korea, I'll show up.
No, I'm talking before that. I'm talking the moment that Anne Hathaway and Jason Sudeikis throw down on the playground. You know, the thug life moment, the slap.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And, you know, when she gets into her boxer position, you know, it's like she's climbed aboard her robot jocks. And that moment when her fists clench, you know, has to be one of the best fist-pumping moments I've had in the theater all year, and probably will have all year, because it's just such an epic moment for kaiju culture. It's so wonderful. Now, again, not seeing where that story is going, her getting on a plane and flying to Korea to do not a role reversal, but a funky teleportation trick, a magic trick, to finally stomp or toss the villainous Jason Sudeikis. It's the only way that story could have gone.
Yeah.
And that's such a rare experience, to watch a movie perform its path and still be in surprise and still be in awe of it.
Yeah.
Does not happen too often.
The only piece of this puzzle that I'm not completely at peace with is I don't know how I feel about the flashbacks to the children. So, like, throughout the film, they're showing flashbacks to baby Gloria and baby Oscar walking home with their projects, and her project is about soul, I guess.
Yeah, it's
and
just diorama.
Yeah,
right?
Little dioramas, and his is like, I think, Mexico or something. And we see in this story in phases, her project blows into this vacant lot, and he goes after it, and it looks like he's going to fetch it for her, but then in reality he stomps it, and then at that moment that's when the lightning strikes their head.
And he's been a dick from birth.
Yeah.
So the jealousy even stems back there.
Yeah, he just could not stand that her project was so beautiful, I guess, or he just didn't want her to have anything nice because he's a prick.
Yeah.
But like, to me, I kind of didn't need to know how she became the kaiju. I was kind of dissatisfied with it being this mystery.
Well, I mean, it's still kind of a mystery, because lightning bolts hitting children's heads usually does not turn them into kaijus.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if that was necessarily necessary. Though I love the payoff of it looks like it's going to be the sweet childhood hero moment, and it turns out that he's just a bastard.
I think ultimately I'm pro flashback, because one, I really love how they are interspersed throughout the narrative, how they're shot, and how it gives you the origin of the head scratch, and how it reveals that Sudeikis, Oscar, has been this jealous prick since he was a little kid, and he's been a rotten child, and he's a rotten man.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I still can go either way with it.
You probably could have pulled all of that out and still had an amazing cinematic experience, but I liked it.
Okay. But yeah, so that's Colossal.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's it. So that's my weekend, Dork.
All right, Brad. Your weekend dork.
My weekend dork was also great.
Yep.
I finally got to see Ben Wheatley's Free Fire.
Yep.
Over at the Alamo Draft House.
Yep.
So did I. I saw that too.
And so did Darren.
Yay.
I really, really dug the film. I'm a big Ben Wheatley fan.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Kill List. I think A Field in England is one of the best films of the century, the last 15 years. It's one of my top 10 movies. It's wild, it's weird, it's psychedelic, it's Lovecraftian, it's indie, it's everything I want in a film. Sightseers is a twisted, black as midnight comedy. High Rise, I'm still working that movie out.
Yeah.
I was so excited about High Rise, and inevitably I was disappointed in its execution, its story, its performers. It's just that movie did not connect with me. And coming off of A Field in England, I was just so desperate to love it, and I hate that sense of, So going into Free Fire, it is certainly a film that has caught the attention of the Twitter sphere and fanboy culture. It's got an amazing cast of Brie Larson and Cillian Murphy.
He's so beautiful.
Charlton Copley.
Charlton Copley, Armie Hammer. Noah Taylor's in it in a small role. I love that guy. Jack Rayner is so great in the movie. Michael Smiley, who plays Frank, he's one of the main characters in A Field in England. He's amazing, and Kill List. I love that dude. And there were comparisons to Reservoir Dogs before walking into the movie. It's all set in one location. It's this bottle movie. And there's a shit ton of guns, and people are going to be killing each other left and right. It's going to be, John Woo's wet dream. So yeah, I was down. I was ready. I'd been anticipating a long time. I know at Fantastic Fest last year, there was whispers of it possibly being the secret screening, and it wasn't. No. And there was some disappointment. Yes. But now here we are finally. And it was not necessarily what the trailer made it out to be. It is not John Woo's wet dream, but it is very much an Elmore Leonard chapter. Like, here are a bunch of dumbass people with no morals trying to interact with each other, make a little money, and fouling it up. And it's it's like 90 minutes. It's a pretty short movie, and it gets cracking pretty darn quickly. The basic plot is that Cillian Murphy and Michael Smiley, Frank and Chris are there to make a gun deal with Charlton Copley, and so they can bring this ammunition back to Ireland and fight the English. And Charlton Copley's supposed to supply them with some M16s, and they don't have M16s. They got this other gun that I don't know what it is, but it looks
AR-70?
Yeah, okay. And Armie Hammer is brokering the deal with Brie Larson. And the night before, one of Cillian Murphy's henchmen, Sam Riley, had a drunken brawl with Jack Rayner's character, and Jack Rayner's on Charlton Copley's side. And when they finally see each other, they go at it, and it sparks off this firefight, this shootout. And, for the next 90 minutes, you're pretty much watching a bunch of dudes collect bullets in their bodies. Mm-hmm. And I really loved the characters. I really liked the performances. And I thought it was shot extremely well. And like Colossal, the places it goes are obvious and yet surprising. In some ways, it reminded me of Alien. The first time, what it must have been like when you were watching the crew of the Nostromo get picked off one by one. Who's going to end on top? In the Nostromo? Who's going to end on top in this umbrella factory in Free Fire? And it was, it was not who I thought it was.
Really?
Yeah. I was surprised.
Yeah.
But again, ultimately, I shouldn't have been. And I don't want to go. I don't want to do the whole Colossal review that we just did, because Free Fire did just come out this weekend. So did Colossal, but it's been playing like at every festival on the planet. And so you should have flown to Texas to see it, you bastards. Or gone to Lost Weekend like we did, because we're cool. Why aren't you cool like us? I am sure you could say the same thing about Free Fire. I could have gone to TIFF. But yeah, so I loved this. I love the set dressing. I love the costumes. I love the soundtrack. Yeah, I really dug the movie.
One thing that bothered me about Free Fire is it took people a lot longer to die of the bullets.
That's what I loved about it.
And they didn't seem particularly bothered by the bullets. Like, people were getting bullets in their legs and in their arms, and they were just like, they seemed like kind of like, damn it. You know what I mean? Like, I get a paper cut reaction where if I was shot, I imagine that I would be distraught.
These are tough hombres, Lisa. they're tough hombres. They've been shot before. They know what it's like.
Well, the human body can take a surprising amount of punishment before it expires. That I'll give the movie that. But yeah, some of those gunshot wounds should have elicited more of a response or ow, but also in the movie's defense, when adrenaline is pumping, it acts as an endorphin, and it could prevent you from actually feeling a certain amount of pain. So
yeah, but
I've been privy to that.
Yeah,
experience.
I know, but they seemed inconvenienced
Well,
more than like adrenaline rush.
Lisa, Free Fire is not a realistic movie. It is fanciful.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about it. These are cartoon characters. These are cartoon criminals that you have seen in Elmore Leonard movies, in Quentin Tarantino movies. Everything is heightened, but it's all sold expertly by the performers.
Right.
And if you didn't have Armie Hammer in that role, or Sharlto Copley.
He was amazing. I love Sharlto Copley.
You would be really disappointed. I was surprised at how much I liked Cillian Murphy. I love that guy.
Yeah,
but going into the movie, I was expecting Sharlto Copley to steal the show, and because I love Michael Smiley so much, I thought he was going to be my in, or Armie Hammer. But really, the central performance for me was Cillian Murphy. If I'm going to be honest, Brie Larson did not quite connect or sell her character the way I would have liked. She's good.
She's kind of a tough gal.
But there's that character is hiding so much. I feel like Brie Larson could not necessarily reveal too much through her performance. That the script was holding her back, or her character was holding her back.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I don't know. But yeah, I really dug the movie. I would say that I loved it.
I thought that there were funny moments in the movie. I think it's going to be better for me on the second watch, because I found myself a lot of times in the first watch just waiting to see what's going to happen next. So just because a lot of the movie is, well, who's going to end up on top, and who's going to still be alive, and who's going to get the case, and who's going to get the guns. And
a mystery element is introduced, a third of the way through.
Right.
And does
that pay off all of that much? Like, did you really care once you found out?
Well, I mean, without spoiling it, I would say I was disappointed in the reveal of that.
I mean, by that point, it's just like, who even fucking cares?
But, I mean, I cared, Lisa.
Okay.
But at the same time, when that reveal finally happens or makes itself known, I loved that moment. That gunshot.
Mm.
Oh yeah, that was nuts.
I liked it. I think I'll like it more on the second watch. I did think that there was a little bit of a drag in the middle.
Yeah,
I mean,
in the fighting,
we talked about it afterwards. For me, it was breakneck. I was engaged the entire time, and I just Loved all the switchbacks and the inventiveness of the camera work.
There was 2 mustachioed characters where I was just like, which guy is that?
That's Sam Riley and Noah Taylor,
Mustache
Lisa.
1 and
Come
mustache
on.
2.
So yeah, I loved it. I liked it a lot.
All right.
Ben Wheatley back on top.
I haven't seen any other Ben Wheatley movies.
Darren's not talking much because he didn't think it was that great.
Oh, this was your weekend dork. I didn't want to butt in.
We butted in all over Lisa's, Darren.
Did we?
Yeah, we sure did.
Oh,
we put
okay.
all our opinions out there.
Oh yeah.
In a weekend dork, we talk as a group.
I put my opinions out there on Letterboxd about Free Fire.
How many stars did he give it? Do
I
you
gave
remember?
it 3.
3.
I enjoyed it.
And if you talk to Sarah Dina Smith, and if you listen to our next interview cast, you'll learn that 3 stars is shit.
It hurts directors' feelings, that's for sure.
It does. But hey, you know what? So anyway, with Free Fire, maybe it was because, not just the trailers, but that pre-show, some of it that I missed, but they were showing a bunch of. Actually, I don't know that these were the films that influenced Free Fire, but Alamo decided to pick.
It was Ben Wheatley's influences. He picked them. They were his 5 favorite shootouts.
Oh yeah, and Brad, you just mentioned John Woo, and then they showed like clips from The Matrix and all these films that had these really dynamic shootouts. Which Free Fire, I'm not going to say that it has dynamic shootouts, but it has dynamic cinematography and camera movement when capturing the shootout of the film.
But no one is John Woo.
No, these people are like rank amateurs. They weren't prepared to have this shit go down, which is fine. But I think for me, like at the end of the film, I felt like I don't know. I felt like there wasn't enough character work for me. Like I didn't feel like there weren't any noticeable character arcs for me. Brie Larson, her character is too mysterious to the point where her character ends up at the end of the film. I felt like I don't know that was necessarily earned from me as far as my sympathy.
I'll give you that. But I would also argue that it's not a character arc kind of movie. It is a real time, here's a bunch of shitty dudes.
Well, yeah, like if I had known that going into it, then, my expectations would have been different. But I don't find out that it's not a character arc type of movie until the end of the film. And so I think, like what Lisa said, like upon a second watch, knowing what the film is, I'll be able to appreciate it on a different level. But the performances, like I love Sharlto Copley's character. I love just the escalation of the brutality, because it starts out kind of tame, and then like the Ben Wheatley shit starts to happen. I go, okay, there's Ben Wheatley, and then it just keeps happening. I'm like, oh shit. So there's some really heinous violence in the film that was really gratifying for me, and so I appreciate that. But at the end of the day, it was a bunch of characters who were non-sympathetic, and so, not being privy to that ahead of time, I was expecting to find someone I was like, okay, who am I supposed to be rooting for here? Who am I supposed to be latching on to throughout the narrative? But, like you said, Brad, it's just a bunch of, shitty people in a place, and they're supposed to take each other out. But yeah, I mean, it was a fun time, and it was some darkly comedic elements in the film, and even some elements of some nice dramatic tension and some. I mean, there were some character moments, but they weren't. I don't know, like just.
I think there's lots of character moments.
Yeah, but it just...
I don't know if there's lots of character growth.
Right.
I think there's some. I think Cillian Murphy's going through some stuff.
Yeah.
I think Jack Rayner's going through some stuff.
Yeah.
But it is like a rough afternoon for them.
It's a really rough afternoon.
It's a rough afternoon.
Yeah. It's like the last afternoon for a lot of them.
A lot of that movie is, I guess it's like real time.
It is.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So,
yep.
how much growth can... I know that by the end of each podcast, we're completely different people. So we know that in 90 minutes, there can be a lot of growth happening.
Yes.
So.
I tell you what, though, like the audio of the film, like the sound, like those gunshots, man, it packs so much punch. Like I really dug every time like a gun was fired, especially like a high-powered weapon. and just the bullets hitting off of the concrete in there.
When those machine guns are finally unboxed.
Oh man, the sound design, it was just phenomenal. Like I really loved and appreciated the sound design in Free Fire. It almost made me wish we were watching it in Theater A. But even that, I mean, even still, we weren't in Theater A, and it still sounded phenomenal. Like those gunshots just sounded like just beasts just thumping, boom, 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 boom. So I really appreciated that. But yeah, and like Armie Hammer's character, I don't know. Like
I loved him. I thought he was so funny.
He was a total goofball. Like he comes on and he's like supposed to be this giant badass, but he's such an asshole.
Yeah, like his character arc. I'm just trying to.
Darren, in your beard right now, how much beard oil are you wearing?
Not nearly not as much as Armie Hammer.
He smells fantastic.
Yeah, but yeah, so I enjoyed it. I'd be interested in rewatching it, knowing what the film is and what it's supposed to be is in regards to its narrative and its characters. Because if I figure if I had as much fun as I did in the state that it was when I first watched it, then I'm pretty sure I'll enjoy it some more, knowing that it's not a character arc type of movie. But yeah. Free Fire.
Fun.
I can't wait to watch it in my house with my surround sound, my system. I'll tell you that. Boom, 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 boom. All right. What else you got? Yes.
How was your weekend, Dork?
My weekend, Dork, was cool. I watched. I caught a Netflix comedy special. The Lucas brothers. I think. That's their name. It's these twin brothers. I was just flicking through trying to find something to watch, and they're these twin brothers that are comedians, and they go on stage at the same time, and they have an act that they do together, and I had never seen that before, so that was unique to me, and so I checked that out, and that was pretty funny. It was interesting to see that type of dynamic, and for them to play off of each other in that way. I thought that was pretty cool, and so I just started a new hobby. It's called Gunplay, and it's short for Gundam. I don't know what the play is.
Okay.
But I guess you're just playing with Gundam. But anyway, so Gundam is an animation series in Japan. It dates back to like the 70s. And it was one of the first robot animes to become popular. And it spawned manga, and it spawned a bunch of toys and things like that. So I want to say like in the late 80s, early 90s, these model kits would come out for the robots that are featured in the show. And you would actually build these robots in a way where we have, model cars over here, and those plastic models, and you glue them together and snap them together and build them. Well, these robot model kits that they have, you build them, and they have different sizes for different levels of difficulty. And so I've always loved the design of the robots from the cartoons, the manga, and even just the model kits. I'm a fan of mecha, which is what the term is used for to describe the subgenre of giant robots, or just giant robots, period, in Japan. And I've always loved Gundam design. Well, I would go to Comic-Con, and Bandai would have a booth, and they would showcase their current and upcoming models, and I always snap pictures of them. But I've always been intimidated by the fact that, you don't just buy the toy. It's not like something you buy from Sideshow Collectibles or Hot Toys where it comes together and you just snap on a head and some hands, and then you can display your piece of your toy. I mean, you have to literally put a robot together. And so you just imagine Michael Bay's Transformer, and when you buy it, it comes in 1,000 pieces, and you have to put that Transformer together and then put stickers on it and then paint it, and then you have your toy.
Fun.
So that's what Gunplay is, right? And so I've always been intimidated by the fact that you have to build it. So if I could just buy it and it's pre-assembled, cool, I'd be down for that. But for me, the idea of sitting in one spot and just working meticulously to build this thing, I just never thought I would have the patience for that. My attention span is too short. Like I just want instant gratification. I just want the freaking toy built, and so I can pose it, play with it, whatever, and just have it on my shelf. Well, something happened recently. Like I thought about, I saw some images online, I think, and the robot designs were cool. And I gave it a thought about actually trying it and saying, well, maybe if I start with a smaller kit, I can just put on some music and just use that time to just relax and just do something with my hands while I'm relaxing and think or whatever, just clear my mind. And so that's what actually ended up happening. But instead of like starting with like the novice entry level, I started like at the master grade. And I got to say, like, it was really cool. Like, I put on some podcasts. I listened to people I think are cool.
Yay!
The episode with Emily. So I checked that episode out. But I just listened and, finished up S-Town. But I also listened to, that's another thing I want to talk about, S-Town. But also, just listen to music. And it was cool. Like, the satisfaction of building something and seeing it come together, come to fruition right before my eyes was something that I didn't expect. And so I had a lot of fun doing it. And so, I'm kind of hooked into this gunplay thing now. So
that's awesome. Because I spend a lot of time, because I listen to a ton of podcasts. I'm a total podcast dork.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the time when I'm listening to a podcast, I'm like playing a dumb game on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And just the idea of having a product at the end of that. Because I can't necessarily draw or write, obviously, while I'm listening to a podcast, because that occupies too much of my brain. I wouldn't be able to hear because I would be concentrating. But something that's just on the level of making a thing while I do what I love, which is listen to podcasts. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
And the impressive thing about the toys, I'll bring it the next time I come, is it is insanely detailed. I mean, it is insanely detailed. It's like Brad has the Lego tumbler over there.
I built that.
And he built that. So I don't know what the inside of it is like, but it's almost like if the engine of the tumbler had to be built from Legos as well.
It did.
And the inside pistons and everything moves, and the drivetrain and all that.
Brad's exaggerating.
And that's what Gundam is. There are things I've built in the Gundam that you will never see it. I have to build the skeleton of the robot first, then put on the outside plating, and then put on the armors, and then the joints and everything move, the fingers move, and I have to build those things. You will never see those things, but they're there, and it's just so intricate and so detailed.
It's like IKEA furniture times 1,000.
Yeah, except really small. So it's just really impressive engineering, actually. So yeah, that's what I was doing. But anyway,
did you end up with any extra parts?
No.
Okay,
no.
good. You didn't have to improvise because you were missing parts?
Yeah, because Kuma ate one of the parts. So
Oh, no.
what I had to do was I had to order another one, and then say that a part was missing from mine. So after I ordered it, I just sent the other one back and then got my money back. So anyway, I mentioned that I listened to podcasts while I was doing it. I listened to S-Town.
Yeah,
Lisa.
that's a lot of podcasts.
Holy shit.
That's some heavy stuff.
Man, if you haven't listened to it, Lisa mentioned this on a previous episode. This is done by the same production company who did Serial and This American Life.
Right.
And I this particular season of the podcast S-Town was infinitely fascinating. It's so profound. Like I was not prepared for the narrative that is presented in this podcast.
Doesn't it? It takes a turn. Like, they present this mystery to you at the beginning of the podcast, of the series, but that's not ultimately what it becomes about.
No.
And this whole world and this whole person opens up to you, and it is really immersive.
It is. And I want to talk about it, but then again, if anyone is going to actually listen to it based off of our recommendation, I don't want to rob them of the discovery of where this story goes. Because, again, it starts off like, okay, there's going to be this big mystery, this big conspiracy, and then it kind of opens up, but then it ultimately becomes really personal, and all at once it expands, but then at the same time it narrows its focus, and at the end you find out it was really about this one thing or this one person all along. And it is just incredible. The production values, the way that they research and put this thing together is so impressive. But then the subjects of documentary of the podcast are just wholly unique and interesting personalities that I just found myself so compelled. It just is a very compelling podcast. And I just wasn't expecting that narrative journey, listening to it from the beginning. And man, by the second episode, I'm crying. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is just the second episode. Like, what? Where does it go from here? And in a million years, I would have never have guessed that where it went. But yeah, so thank you for putting me on to that, Lisa.
Yeah.
I just want to wrap up by saying I caught The Lost City of Zed. I just learned how to properly pronounce the Z. It stars Charlie Hunnam, Sienna Miller, Robert Pattinson. Which, you know what? Robert Pattinson. Excuse me. Robert Pattinson. He may get a bad rap from his days in the Twilight films, but I happen to dig this dude's career choices post those Twilight films. I love him in The Rover, and I really enjoyed him in this film.
I like him in Cosmopolis, the David Cronenberg movie.
That one I haven't watched yet.
It's not great, but he's pretty good in it.
Yeah.
Remember Me is another good one I like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Haven't watched that one yet.
Yeah. It's
because
good.
you talked about it. It didn't sound like my thing. I might watch it. Anyway, so this film stars Charlie Hunnam as is his name Magnus Fawcett?
Percy Fawcett.
Percy Fawcett. And Percy Fawcett he's a soldier who ends up getting tasked to go lead an expedition to the jungles of Bolivia.
He's a soldier without a war. He has no medals on his uniform, and that causes him great embarrassment.
And to right his family's, bring honor, restore honor to his family's name, he decides to go on this expedition in Bolivia. It's a geographical expedition to map out this uncharted land, and he does so. And
it's like 1905, I believe, is the year.
Yeah,
the year of the expedition.
And then he comes back, and he ends up going back because he finds something that he believes is evidence of a civilized people there.
Pots and pans,
right? And he's laughed. He's made a laughing stock, and everyone laughs at him and thinks that he's a fool for suggesting that these people that the English view as savages may actually have some intelligence to them. And so he decides to go back to find proof to show that there is an advanced intelligent civilization in this uncharted territory. So he goes back with this guy. Who is that guy? This dude played the bad guy in Equilibrium. That's the only way I remember him from.
Oh, he is the bad guy in Equilibrium.
He put on a lot of weight, but he's the main bad guy in Equilibrium. But anyway, this guy says, you know what? I think we should go back and prove him right and find the glory. And so Charlie Hunnam goes back. And so in the beginning, Sienna Miller is, she's cool to some degree with her husband going on this expedition and doing what's best for his family, because that's what he says. He wants to, do this to restore his family's name and get advancement, because his military career is not providing this advancement. So she's supportive of him. So he goes back, and this time the expedition does not go as planned, and they only get
Angus McFadden.
It's Angus McFadden.
I did it quicker. I said it first.
Right, but he's also the main character in Saw 3. He's Jeff in Saw 3.
Really?
Yep.
I don't think I saw Saw 3.
Damn it, Darren.
Is that the one with Costas Mandylor when he's first introduced?
Yes.
Okay, I saw Saw 3.
Well, Costas Mandylor is in all of them after 3.
Okay. No, but the first one he's introduced.
Okay, yeah,
that one.
Saw 3.
Yeah. So anyway, he go back, but because this guy is ill-equipped for jungle life, he's not about that life. They have to call off the expedition again. In the meantime, Charlie Hunnam's family is growing up without him. He keeps coming back, impregnating his wife, and then leaving again. He leaves her with a son at first, comes back, leaves her with a Peter Parker, and then comes back and leaves her with a daughter.
Peter Parker was the oldest.
Number one. Yeah,
But it's a moot point.
Yeah, he keeps leaving.
That's what the British do, man.
I guess. And so
conquest.
I don't want to spoil where the film goes, because it goes into some interesting places, unless you already know of this story, because apparently it's a true story. But I would say this, this movie felt, I don't want to say it felt long, but it just felt epic in scope, because, it starts out in England, then he goes on the trip, then he comes back, a few years pass, he hasn't gone anywhere, Then he goes back. Then he goes to war. Then he comes back.
But the film
he's blinded in war.
spans 2 decades.
Yeah.
That's way too much life to be captured in one film, I think.
Again, it feels epic. Like, it feels, man. And so I really enjoyed the cinematography. You know, there were some really beautiful shots. There were some interesting locations, and like the whole war sequence was really cool. But like my main takeaway was, you know, I've been a fan of Charlie Hunnam since Sons of Anarchy, and you know, obviously he starred in Pacific Rim, and that was one of his first. Oh, he was also in Green Street Hooligans, but he wasn't
Crimson Peak.
Also in Crimson Peak, but he wasn't big until, I mean, he started at Green Street Hooligans, then he did Sons of Anarchy, got more fame, then he did Pacific Rim, and also Crimson Peak. And he's in the upcoming King Arthur film, which, you know, because it's directed by Guy Ritchie, I'm super excited about. But in this film, I feel like I saw him mature as an actor and a performer. Like, he has some really great scenes.
He's great in this movie.
He really is. And I hope that this, coupled with King Arthur and whatever else he does next, kind of pushes him into more leading roles, because he's a very capable actor. And his pairing with Robert Pattinson is probably like my favorite thing in the film.
So watching Pattinson, I'm like, give this kid a Western. Keep the beard.
Yeah.
Give him a Western, or like a Civil War movie.
Man, that whole Doc Holliday scene when he's like passed out on the raft, like just barely alive, and that dude gets all up in Charlie Hunnam's face, and Robert Pattinson shoots him in the ear, like purposely, like while he's half conscious. Like, that was just dope. I was like, oh wow.
I really liked this film,
Yeah.
but I do agree with both you and Lisa that because it spans 25 years and multiple expeditions down to South America, it feels at 2.5 hours rushed. It's long.
Yes, it does.
It's a long, like, and you feel the time, but it feels like it should be like a 4-hour Lawrence of Arabia epic if we're going to do this justice, right?
Because that art, because he started out doing this to, like I said, restore honor to his family's name, because his father disgraced the family name because he was a drunkard and a gambler or whatever. So that was his reason, and also to get advancement, because like you mentioned, he had no medals of honor for his military career and his service. But then by the end of the movie, he becomes obsessed with the lost city of Zed, and for me, I didn't see from him any progression or transition from one motivation to the next. It just, all of a sudden, he's just obsessed with going back to the city. And for me, I didn't see him not just talking, but showing the growth of that, you know, that obsession.
So there's that moment when he wakes up in the hospital after the Somme, and he's been temporarily blinded, and his family comes to meet him, and his words don't go towards his loved ones, but go to Zed. And when he says Zed, like, I didn't buy his obsession at that point, even though I'd been with this movie probably for 2 hours.
Yeah.
But all that being said, I think there are some incredible performances here. I think James Gray shoots the hell out of his locations. We didn't mention this, but there's a Franco Nero cameo in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Which is crazy awesome.
He looks nuts.
And wonderful. And I could have used an entire Lost City of Zed spin-off film about him.
Yeah.
And his slave trade.
Yeah.
Terrifying. Tom Holland, who when he first showed up on screen, I thought he was just like this annoying brat son character.
Oh, man.
But then towards the end of the movie, he's great in it. I definitely dug the movie, but felt like, this should be 3 hours plus.
Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty much my weekend dork. Ended up giving that 3 stars as well. I would have liked it I would have liked for his character, them to expand on, or at least show me the progression of his fascination with the city of Zed and wanting to go back, and his compulsion to put that over his family.
I don't know. I think he staked his career on it. Like, he staked his reputation on it. And there was definitely an establishment of that reputation was everything in this community. And the fact that he stood up in front of everybody and said that it was something that he could find. Plus, he was a man of advanced ideals. He and his wife kept an equal household as best they could, though when she's like, I want to go to the jungle, he's like, nope, too much vagina, you can't go in the jungle, which I would not take my vagina in a jungle because it's dirty. Not my vagina, the jungle is dirty. My vagina is immaculate. But, you know, it's just like, I think that to me, I didn't have a problem with that. I saw him as a man of ideals and a man of passion, and I could see why he would want to find Zed and prove all these puffy shirts wrong, you know, because, you know, when they saw that he had no medals, they assumed it was because he was a drunkard or because he was gambling. But the fact of the matter is he was constantly being passed over because he was not from what they would consider like a good family. And he was coming from a place of disadvantage, and he was going to make that disadvantage pay off for himself and for his family. Yeah. So, yeah.
All right, Lost City of Zed. It just came out this weekend, or has it been out 2 weekends?
Just this weekend.
All right, check it out, folks. Check that out.
Vomity, though.
Check.
It is really vomity.
Check out Free Fire.
Not vomity.
And check out Colossal.
Also not
that
vomity.
Japanese poster for Free Fire is dope.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I love that poster. But yeah, check out those 3 films. And then hit us up on the social medias and let us know your thoughts. So that's going to do it for us. But before we go, we'd be remiss if we did not mention that since we are nearing the end of the month of April, that means May is just right around the corner. And if May is right around the corner, that just means ITMOD's takeover of the Alamo at Winchester is right around the corner. That's right. For the month of May, ITMOD will be hosting films each Sunday of the month of May. So on May 7th, yours truly will be hosting a screening. I'm not going to say it just yet. I'm going to wait till everyone else has clearance for their movies too. But I'm going to say May 7th, I'll be at the Alamo in Winchester hosting a screening of the film of my choosing with Andy Geierson and Film Club 3.0.
Tickets are on sale for the May 7th screening, so you can right now go and see what Darren's selection is.
It's a 5 o'clock.
Yes.
5 o'clock screenings
It's
on
at
all
5
of these.
PM for all, yeah, that's
and
right.
I think you get a special dispensation from going to church. So you don't have to go to church those Sundays. You can just come to the movie house.
The
movie church.
Yep. And then on the next Sunday in May,
May 14th.
May 14th.
Mother's Day.
That's Wife Dork's movie.
You also get a special dispensation from your mother. Bring your mother. My film choice is family friendly.
Yep.
Everybody will love it.
We can't say what Lisa's movie is yet because the people involved in that movie have to be notified first and agree to that screening.
So cool.
Let the speculation begin.
And then on the following Sunday, the 21st of May, at 5 o'clock as well, is Mouth Dork's film.
Yeah. Everybody in his film is dead.
Oh, wow. And then on the final Sunday of the month, May 28th, is Brian Young's film.
Closing it out.
What about that nonstop, though?
What about that nonstop, though?
What? So, yeah, come on out and support the ITMOD month of May at the Alamo in Winchester. Come out and support Film Club 3.0 and Andy and everybody out there at the Alamo. And we can chit-chat and talk movies. Again, that's going to be every Sunday in May at 5 p.m. Tickets are on sale for the first screening on the 7th of May right now. So go check that out. I look forward to seeing everyone there and talking about the film. We've also got our ITMOD Spotlight, which is Bruce Lee. The next episode, he's getting better at it. And that's going to be coming up really soon. We'll be talking about Fist of Fury, a.k.a. The Chinese Connection this time. And then Brian's got his homework coming up, Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
Yes.
And then be on the lookout for our chatcast, or actually it's already out, the interview with Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead as they discuss their film, The Endless, which just premiered at Tribeca
And it's getting some really great buzz.
Yep.
People are loving it as they should.
Yep.
It's great.
And then on Friday, because it's that time of year again, we happily present our fistful of summer anticipation. Yeah. Yes. So our top 5 films we're looking forward to the most.
Number 1, Baywatch. Number 2, Baywatch. Number 3, Baywatch. Number 4, Baywatch. Number 5, King Arthur.
Yeah.
Hey, how'd you guess my list?
What? All right. So, Brian Young.
You guys can find me on all the social medias at Brian William Young, the Turtle Dork, the Turtle Dork 1. Just look for me. I'm out there.
Wife Dork.
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Sidewalk Siren.
Mouth Dork.
Find me on all social medias at Mouth Dork, and check out my weekly column at Film School Rejects.
Yep, and I'm Darren Smith, the Disco Dork, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Letterboxd at the Disco Dork. That's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. Enjoy the rest of your week. Be on the lookout for the rest of our content. And until next time.